So we're going to bring my main man T-Boz into this conversation, okay?
Right.
He's on the phone with us right now with his weekly presentation, Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation. T-Boz, have you been listening to the guests in the studio?
Yes, I have been, and I'm on the floor looking for those brownies that you're talking about. But, yes, I've been listening. I guess we should start rolling then, huh, Mr. Williams?
And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Williams. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. What the great thing about WAPJ is it has a storefront studio, and people are always welcome to come on, as Jock says, on Thursdays to promote their business or if they're a person of interest. And I'm so happy these guys came in today and talked about themselves. It kind of segues into what we're doing. I should have enough time to do everything. We'll do the sponsors at 11:30, Jock, and then we'll go from there. So good morning, everyone. Boy, they're piling in. George by the door is busy handing out the notepads and pencils, stands ready to go. What's that? Oh, this woman has a service dog. Oh, yes, ma'am. You can bring the dog in. Yeah, put right over here. What's the dog's name? Maddie. D-D-I? M-A-D? I had a dog named Maddie. It was a collie. George, there's dog bowls in the closet down the hall. Could you get that for the service dog? Yes, service dogs are welcome. I'm glad you came, ma'am. Thank you. And everyone, you got your pens and pencils. There's things you can write down. Yes, you can sit over here. Yep, there's plenty of room over here. Come on in. Wow, what a great group. Last week we had the people from St. Bridget's. It looks like there's some other groups coming in, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get rolling with the show. I think I have a couple of shout-outs and then Stan, and then depending on the time, we may hit the sponsors a couple of minutes early so that I can roll right through. So, quick shout-out, Lady Diane and I, beautiful time at Bridgewater Fair. Guys, Terryville Fair is this weekend. It's Ag Fair season in Northwest Corner. Your buddy will be fine. Leave him at home. Your buddy there, and get your gal, turn the phone off, take her to the fair, win her a prize, buy her some cotton candy, maybe a couple of hot dogs or something, and enjoy the fairs up here this season. Next week is the big Goshen Fair, so really get into those. A great show on Saturday morning, My Country Place with Chris Canfield, and later today, James does Psych and Soul. It's an awesome show. He talks about all his tag sale adventures with albums. So from 4 to 5, really, whatever station you're doing or whatever you're doing in the yard, switch it and listen to James with Psych and Soul, and catch my buddy Chris Canfield Saturday morning. Real country music, which goes great with the country fairs. So, speaking of country, look at Stan, the coffee man. And you're wearing a jacket today, Stan. Billy, when you came in, what time did you get here? 7:30. Wow. All right, what do we got in the big coffee pot today for everybody, Stan? Montego Bay Mocha. We have dark roast, a decaf, and regular. Fantastic. And wow, look at all those bagels with cream cheese and all of that. And we got the fruit cup and everything. Fantastic. And who is our sponsor, Dan? Mantra Massage. Yes, I went there and had a massage. 91 Main Street here in Torrington. If you're feeling a little stiff, if you're feeling like you need to loosen up, go see the gang over there at Mantra Massage. They are sponsoring the table today with the refreshments. And for the new people, you can go up at any time, and if someone needs help with some of these refreshments, Stan and George would be more than happy to help you. So, and then you can stick around after the program. So let's see how we're doing. Jock, it's 11:28. You want to hit the sponsors right now, and then I can just cruise right through the program?
Sure, no problem. We want to take this opportunity to invite each and every one of you to participate in our local and live segment each and every Thursday right here on the Feel Good Show. If you're a business, artist, venue, or person of interest and you want to blast off the community, then Thursdays is indeed your day to make it happen. We want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to bring you the quality community radio programming that you are witnessing at this time. And we want to make sure that we're doing our job here at WAPJ to make sure that our audiences are not only entertained, but they are informed. And with that being said, we thank you so much for tuning in, and we return the show back over to T-Boz for more words of wisdom and moments of meditation.
All right, thank you. And it is Friday Eve, as Jock says. I just want to show, I don't know if you can see this on Zoom, bring the cameras in. George got this dog dish, and with the magic marker, he wrote M-A-D-D-I on the side of the dish for the dog. I mean, everyone, give George a hand. I mean, that's the kind of staff we have here. It's community radio. So today's topic is coping. How do we cope? As Jock has been talking all morning, coping with life challenges. Stuff comes our way. Sometimes we expect it, and sometimes we don't. And so how do we deal with these things? How do we work through these things? And as always, let's start with our first scripture quote. We're starting with Philippians chapter 6, verse 7, and it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything give prayer and thanksgiving. Bring all your concerns to God." Wow. Bring all your concerns. Do not be anxious. That's hard to do, isn't it? Right? When you're laying in bed at night and the heart, boom, 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 because you got stuff on your mind. Things have come your way. But our scripture verse says, do not be anxious about anything. But in prayer and thanksgiving, bring all your requests. All your requests, whatever they are, whatever big or small they are. The problem with a lot of us with prayer, if we think, oh, it's not big enough. It's not a problem enough. It doesn't matter. Bring all the things. Remember when your kids were little, you wanted them to tell you everything, whether it was a little toy that broke or maybe the kid next door kind of hit them over the head, right? And they're a little mashugana. So bring all things. So our God is a parent. We look at Joshua chapter 14, verse 7, and it says, "Have I not commanded you to be strong?" Okay? And I'm going to analyze that in a minute. Do not be frightened of anything, for your God is with you. And that's a great word, with. It's not where the scripture verse says, "Be strong, for I've commanded you to be strong," and says, well, go ahead, here's a box, and there's stuff in there to help you on the journey. It says, God is with you. Okay? With, meaning right alongside you, being there wherever you go, the verse says. So it's not like the scripture verse says, or God is saying, well, I'll be with you, but only so far, and then once you get to the bridge, then you're on your own, Sylvia. Good luck. No, wherever you go. And what that means is whatever you're going through. And so as things come our way, maybe health challenges, financial challenges, relationship challenges, challenges, okay? Our God is with us. We look at the book of James, chapter 1, verse 2, and it says, "Count all joy, my brothers, when meeting trials of all kinds." Boom. And I love the word meeting trials, because we're on the journey, right? The journey of 1,000 miles, you've all heard this, begins with a single step. So it says meeting. In other words, guess what, boys and girls? Whatever you're facing today, you're going to walk a little bit more, and down the road, there's going to be more challenges. All right? Just like there's going to be another rock in the road, there's going to be another log in your way. Then it goes nice for a while. You're all old enough to know that. It goes nice for a while, and then, there's another lump in the road. So I love what James says, that count all joy. So as you're banging into these things, a way of coping, as you're meeting these trials, think of the good. Think of the blessings that you've had so far in your life. Think of the good things that are happening, even when you're in the trough. And we've talked about my life this winter. But there were still good things. There was still joy. There was still friendship. There were things happening alongside the trials. So celebrate those joys. Bring those joys with you as you meet those trials. We look at Roger Crawford, and he's an American, he was an American educator and businessman, and he says, being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. Bing, bang, say it with me, boom. All right? So all of you are old enough to know we're going to have challenges. It's inevitable. But being defeated is optional. It's our choice, like Jock said earlier, to get up. To get up. Yeah, there's a great song by Rascal Flatts. The name of the song is Stand. And what it says in the verse of the song, it says, after the guy's been knocked down, the character in the song, and then he stands. The success is how you stand, not how many times you get knocked down. Okay? Albert Einstein said, it's not that I'm so smart, but I work through more problems. And so coping with challenges in life or problems, the ability of us to get back up and stand, as this person says, Crawford says, is the most important thing. Here's an anonymous thing. The person didn't want to put their name to this. As anonymous says, the only way out is through. Boom. And I said that on Facebook. It's not what we get over. It's what we grow through. Okay? And so how we grow. So the only way out when you're coping with problems is working through. And there's a great scripture verse, Matthew chapter 22, verse, I think it's 22, verse 22. Don't hold me to that, but that's what I believe it is. And it talks about the hemorrhaging woman, and she's sitting on the side of the road, and she's just walking through the crowd. There's people all around her, and she's hemorrhaging. She's got severe problems with her skin and like leprosy and all of that, and she's bleeding here and there, scabby, and she's curled up in the corner. And the crowd, and she's on her hands and knees, and she's crawling, and she says, if only I could touch his cloak. If only I could just touch the tassels of his cloak. And so as Jesus is walking, he says, who touched me? Who touched me? And then he looks and he says to the woman, by your faith you have been healed. And she's healed of all her problems with her skin and her health. My question to all of you is, what crowd are we willing to go through? The only way out is through. What crowd? Her life, had she stayed in the corner, she never would have been healed, but she had enough faith that she was able and willing to battle the crowds that were all around her. So what crowds are we willing to go through with our faith and our friends and our family to touch the cloak? To just touch. And Jesus doesn't turn around and go, abracadabra, you're healed by your faith. By her faith, by her perseverance. Jock said the word we're going to talk about in a little bit, resilience. These are all ways of coping with life's challenges. So we sometimes have to fight through the crowd. It's not just going to happen overnight for us. You got to fight through the crowd. You got to fight through the crap in order to touch whatever the cloak is. I know there's people in the audience that be atheist, agnostic. Like I say, this show is a grocery store. Take what you want off the shelf, leave what you want on the shelf. So if you want to think that this story about the hemorrhaging woman is the Hardy Boys, fine. This classroom is open to everyone. But what are we willing to work through, or are we gonna give up before we even get a chance to get started? We look at Philippians again, chapter 4:19, verse 19, and it says, "My God will supply every need of yours according to His riches." Beautiful. In other words, I love the way it says, and my God will. It doesn't say my God might, my God should. It says my God will supply according to His riches. So all that He has for us, He's going to give to us. But what do we have to do? We got to work through. We got to bring our prayers and thanksgiving. It's not just going to happen coping with life's problems or challenges as if it's going to fall out of the sky. So, and it says that every need of yours. And again, I always talk about this every week on the show. Scripture is very personal, and it says every need of yours. When you read Scripture, it's like they're writing it for you. Okay? They're writing it for you, Marvin. They're writing it for you, John. They're writing it for you, Sarah. They're writing it for you. So every need. So putting your prayers and bringing all your needs to God, working through it with that strength will help you cope with the things that are coming your way. And again, I just want to preface here, if you have some serious, say, terminal illness or things like that, get counseling. The program today is for general challenges, maybe financial, family challenges, moderate health challenges. But if you're dealing with something very serious, you can listen to this. I welcome you. But please, there are professional counselors here in town. Get the help you need to deal with the issues that you're dealing with. We look at Oprah Winfrey, and she says, where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Boom. In the struggle is where we become strong. Okay? They say children that live under the nest will never learn to fly. So parents sometimes try to take the struggle away as their children, even adult children, are coping with paying the mortgage or coping with raising children. And so the parents want to get in there. They call them helicopter parents, and they want to make it all better. Doesn't work. Children that live under the nest will never learn to fly. And so Oprah is very right, and she struggled. And I'm sure most actors and entertainment people struggle greatly. But where there is no struggle, you get stronger. We talked about Disney one time when they built this artificial tree, and it was the most beautiful tree that they built in this laboratory. You couldn't find a tree like this on all the earth. Then they put it outside, and it fell over. Why? Because the tree never experienced wind, and it didn't grow the roots. So it's in the struggle that we have strength. An anonymous quote again. This says growth, and this is going to tie. This is really going to tie in great. Watch how this all works. Growth is in the discomfort. Growth. So as we're discomfort, as we're coping with these challenges in life, and it's painful and it's hard, and trust me, I know, right? I deal with blindness every day. It's discomfort, but in that discomfort, we become more. Believe it or not, we become more. A diamond is made out of coal, but under tremendous pressure, that diamond comes out of that block of coal. So it's through growth. The growth that we have comes out of discomfort. This woman, Clementine, and I hope I pronounced her name right, Wamariya. Let me try it again. Clementine Wamariya. Wamariya. Okay, and she's a Rwandan American author, and she says this about coping. I am still coping with my trauma by trying different ways to heal rather than to hide it. Bing, bang, boom. How many of us in this classroom, watching on Zoom and listening on the radio, are hiding something? Maybe a parent, maybe a teacher, maybe an ex-husband, an ex-wife, child. What are we hiding? And I love what Clementine says. I'm dealing with my trauma by finding different ways to heal it rather than hide it. You can sweep dirt under a rug, boys and girls, and you don't see it on the floor, but it's still under the rug. Whatever you're dealing with, don't hide it. Deal with it. And that's how you heal. By pretending that everything's okay, everything isn't okay. And one of the reasons why people have a lot of troubles in relationships as they go on to get married or enter a relationship is they're trying to hide it. And they airbrush their parents in, they airbrush the coach, the teacher, whatever. Whoever had done you wrong, you need to own it and don't hide it. And if you don't want to talk to the public about it, I said before, Catholic Charities has wonderful counselors, but talk about it. Don't hide it. And I think Clementine really hits it on the head, and it follows this woman here, who comes before Barbara Demeaning, and she says, think first of the action that is right to take, then later about the fear. So think first about the action it's right to take, going right back to Clementine, healing it. Think first about the action that's right to take. Then think about the fear. Do not be afraid to talk. Do not be afraid to ask for help as you're coping with things. Do not be afraid. What does it go? Right back to Joshua. I have commanded you to be strong. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. And we go right over here to Barbara Demeaning, and she says the same thing. Think first about taking the right action, then think about the fear. A lot of us put fear in front of us when we're coping with problems, and that's how we can't get to the other side, because we're so afraid, and the fear blocks us, just like the people blocked the hemorrhaging women. But what did she do? The hemorrhaging woman got through the fear, she got through the people, she got through the obstacles, she touched the cloak of Jesus, and she was healed. And the same healing is available to you if you do what these people are helping you to do. Jeremiah says this: resiliency is not about denying emotion or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging the pain and learning from it and moving ahead. Boom. Acknowledging the pain, whatever you're dealing with. I mean, coping is not only coping with, say, physical things, but coping with relationship challenges, coping with financial challenges, whatever it is. Acknowledge the pain. Don't pretend that everything is okay, because in the end, it's going to manifest itself in bigger problems. So Jeremiah says is right. Resiliency. It's not about denying. A lot of people think resilience, look at me, I'm tough, I can do it. That's not resiliency. Resiliency is saying, I need help. I need someone to talk to. I'm coping with a problem with my son-in-law, or my daughter-in-law, or my own child, or my grandson, whatever it is. I want to talk to somebody. I want to deal with this in the right way. Robert Fulghum said, going right back to what resiliency is, says, one of life's best coping skills is knowing the difference between a problem and an inconvenience. Bingo. My vision is not a problem. Why? Are you Meshuggah? What? It's not a problem. It's an inconvenience. Because if I saw it as a problem, I would never step on a dance floor. Right, Pinky? If I saw it as a problem, I would never step in a square dance square. Right, Diana? If I saw it as a problem, I would never go to the Brass Horse with my friend Barbara and stand and dance with all my friends up there. It's an inconvenience. Someone has to walk me to the dance floor. I got to take an Uber car to go to the dance. I got to meet with my friend Pinky and go out to West Hartford, but I do it. Why? Because I know it's an inconvenience. And one of life's lessons is knowing what's a problem, knowing what's an inconvenience. A lot of us are struggling, and we're all stungots over what we think is a problem, and it's not. And if you recognize it as inconvenience, then you could overcome it and get over that challenge, just like the hemorrhaging woman who got through all the people on the dirt road, and you can live your life, and you can get through the problems that you have. So I see my vision as an inconvenience. I don't see it as a problem. This is a great quote I think Jock is going to love. It's by Malcolm Bradbury, and he's an English author, and we don't... we have not dismissed Brits on the show, boys and girls, so some of you will get that on the ride home. So Malcolm Bradbury says, culture is a way of coping with the world by defining it in detail. Wow. Culture. So defining in detail. We all have different cultures. I'm Italian descent. We have a culture, right? Diana is Swedish descent. They have a culture. People are all different cultures in there. My friend Jim is part Lebanese. They have a culture, right? Jock is African-American. But it's by the culture is a way of coping, because by understanding and admiring other people's cultures, we can then cope with all the differences that we have. A few weeks ago, Desmond Tutu had a great quote saying, we're all made in God's image, but we're all different. Isn't that amazing? So I love that one about culture. Moving swiftly along, William James, who was the first educator to offer psychology courses in the United States, he says our best weapon, here's a great word, our best weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Boom. When coping with problems, think of the right thoughts. Think the right thoughts. Choose the right thoughts. Because the stuff, you're going to be coping with a problem and things are going to be hitting you on the head, boom, boom. It's all going to be negative. But the best defense, the best weapon, as he says, is choosing one thought over another. So when those negative thoughts come in your head about the challenges you have, choose the ones that are right. Share your thoughts with someone. Bring your prayers and supplications to the Lord. Okay? Develop strength through the struggle. And that will help you with the things you're dealing with. Gail Foreman says this: it is an act of bravery to feel your feelings. Wow. And I saw that when we were in bereavement 9 years ago, and there were men in that group, and those men cried. And I said to the guys there, real men cry. I saw real men after my wife died. Why? Because they were brave men. Why? Because they showed their true feelings. I met a guy at Bridgewater Fair, Jamie Sullivan. He's the superintendent there. He worked for the state for years. Good friend of mine. Our kids showed cattle. And we were at a fair one time, and he was telling me about a friend of his that died. We're at Terryville Fair, ironically. Just going back a ways because our kids were young enough to show cattle. Jamie Sullivan is a man's man. He's a hunter. He's a fisher. He's tough. He's Irish. He's a fireman. He'll kick your ass before you know it. But when he told me about his friend that died, it was like a 2-year-old crying and sobbing and crying and sobbing. You know what I saw that day? I saw a hero. I saw a hero. Because he was coping with the loss of his friend by showing his true emotion. He didn't pretend he was resilient because he was dealing with his emotion. He wasn't pretending. He was strong because he had God with him. That's when I saw a real hero. And James Sullivan is a wonderful, wonderful guy, retired now from the state. And he used to tell us at the fairs, 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock, not 7:59, not 8:01. And boy, those shows ran at 8 o'clock. It was great to see him again. Here's some coping skills. Write or say positive things about another person, okay? Not just yourself, about another person. Sometimes hard to do. Invite friends over for coffee. Talk with them. I mean, I just had my friend Barbara here Tuesday night shooting the breeze. I mean, those are ways to cope with things. Prioritize your problems. We talked about that, inconvenience or problem. Prioritize them. Pick the ones that need the most work first and things that aren't as challenging at the bottom. Work in the garage. You know, sometimes exercise is good. And let yourself cry. We just talked about that, right? This is from psychology.com. Let yourself cry. I cried. Let it happen. Don't hold it all in. Tears are a way, actually, of cleansing the soul, believe it or not. Some other things you can do is manage your time better when coping with problems. Relaxation techniques. You know, sometimes you got to sit back. Maybe I always say I relax by doing something, so maybe cleaning out the garage is good. Ask for support and advice, therapy, okay? So don't go it alone. No man's an island. Listen to uplifting talks, maybe like this, if that helps. Pet your cat, okay? I know Diana loves to do that. Pet your cat or your dog, okay? We talked about Maddie. We got the service dog here. Boy, enjoying that water. We don't have any dog bones. No? Okay. Sorry. Thanks, George. So pet your cat or your dog. These are some ways that you can help deal with things along with getting good advice, your friends, and facing the challenges head on. Okay. We're almost up to the takeaway. This woman here, Nito Quibine, says this: your present circumstances do not dictate where you go, merely where you start. So your present circumstances do not dictate. I'm sorry. I made a mistake there. Forgive me. Your current circumstances do not dictate, where you go. They merely say where you start. Okay? So you're having an issue. You're having problems. You're coping with things. Your present circumstances don't say you're at the end or what to do. It's where you start, and you go up from there. And so look at some of the things we talked about today. Look about having strength with the struggle. Find joy when you meet trials along the way. St. Paul says, be persistent in all circumstances, okay? And know that God is with you, and also bring all of your prayers and supplications in thanksgiving. Bring them to Him. He may not answer them exactly when you want, but putting your faith, or if you don't believe in God, a higher authority, or if you believe in the Spirit of the Son, it doesn't matter. But take the things that are troubling you and bring them upward. You know, hold them skyward if that's what you want to do. But think of something beyond you and that'll help you. So here's the last takeaway today, and this is by a Japanese psychologist, and his name is Kenji Miyaskawa. I'm not Japanese, but that's the best I can come up with. Miyaskawa. And if someone knows how to pronounce that, please call me in. So this, I think, is one of the best takeaways I've heard. I say that every week, but this one's amazing, all right? We must embrace pain and burn it as fuel for our journey. Boom. We must embrace pain as fuel for our journey. And what do we talk about at the beginning of the broadcast? Right over here when it says meeting challenges, be joyful, meeting trials. Okay? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So use that fuel. Take that pain and burn it as fuel for the journey. You're going to be on the journey. Things are going to happen. It's not always going to be smooth. We know that. We're all old enough in this room and listening on the air to know that. But as these people were talking today, getting the way out is through having that faith, choosing the right thing. And this one here by Clementine, don't hide what you're coping with. Don't hide it. Face it head on and heal it. I want to thank everyone for taking time here on Friday Eve, and thank the guests that came on before the program. It was great listening to them. And all of you, ag fair season, get out there and enjoy it. George, thank you so much for the help with the dog and the people. Stan, great job with the coffee as always. Hopefully next week you won't be wearing a sweater or a jacket. And you know what I tell everybody at the end of the program? Please, be yourself. You're beautiful people. You have a lot of talent. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Jack, why don't you spin that vinyl? And it's a song that goes great with this topic today. I'll be back next week. Bye-bye, everyone.